Hey guys, it's Joe. Obviously you're watching my video. I know my first video and only video was posted about a year ago. I made a couple other videos on some topics, and they for some reason or another wouldn't get posted for some reason or upload correctly. I had one on gun ban, the gun ban, and it said it was uploaded, but I don't think it really got uploaded. It's not on my channel, which irritates me. And then I made another one on Obamacare and stuff, and just covering those topics that were, at the time big topics. Now they've pretty much died down. I mean, Obamacare is still, up in the air. People are still, complaining about it, and at this point it is what it is. I don't 100% agree with everything that was in Obamacare, but we move on. Update on me, living on my own now. When I posted my first video, I was still living with my parents. On my own, been on my own for almost a year. Pretty cool stuff. Don't work at UPS, don't work at Wendy's. I'm actually a mechanic now, still going to school. Just trying to find out what I really want to do. I'm gonna be 20 years old, and I really don't know what I want to do with myself yet. And I think, as the years go by, I kind of want to make sure I make the most of every year I have and try to experience as much as I can before I hit that age of, it's time to settle down, start a family type thing. So I'm a mechanic. I love my job, to be quite honest. I love going into work and working on cars. It's fun. But the first topic, or the topic I want to cover today, which really isn't a topic, it's more of a rant. And it's because it's something I've seen for quite a few years now, and it's really irritating me quite a bit. And it's my generation that's really primarily I see doing it. It is the worth ethic of some of these young adults, and even some older adults, but mostly young adults. The entitlement they feel kind of irritates me a little bit. And here's why: because I'm 20 years old. Everything I've had so far in my life has been handed to me by my parents, and the only reason I got it from my parents is because my parents worked multiple jobs at a time to raise me and my brother and sisters, and did everything that in their power to make my life better. So the entitlement for me isn't there, because I haven't proven that I've earned it. And I see a lot of kids between the ages of 16 and 22, 23 that go into a job and they feel entitled and question the boss, why the boss is giving them this task or that task, or telling them to do this, to do that. And the way I was raised, you don't question the authority. You do as you're told. He tells you to jump, you say hi. You jump, you say, you ask how high. The type of workers I see, that are lazy. I see a lot of laziness, not being accountable, just taking for granted everything, they have in front of them. And the entitlement, it doesn't make much sense to me. Because I watch my parents, go without to make sure that me and my brothers and sisters didn't have to go without. Yeah, we lived in, nasty parts of, the area that I live in, and, struggled for a long time. I kind of feel like, I need to work hard to make sure I never have to put my kids through that. So, I know, everybody's got a different parenting style and everything, and everybody, when at the end of the day, it's your decision on whether or not something's that important to you. But I feel like a job that's paying me to do a job, I better do it the best of my ability, because there are people out there who don't have a job. I see people show up late to work, people not ready for work, people who are at work and just go through the motions, don't put any effort into their job, and aren't accountable for their job. It makes me upset, because there are people out there trying to get jobs that you can't get them because somebody else has got it, who maybe this other person who can't get the job would have been a better worker. It's like, people take for granted what they have and then expect more. You can't expect more when you haven't even earned it. And that kind of upsets me a little bit, because there are a lot of older generations that look down on this young generation and are pretty upset with what they see. And that's our reputation and everything. They become more skeptical of hiring kids, younger adults and stuff, and it's a trickle effect on what it will do. It's kind of irritating, because I don't want to work with people like that. Like, if you don't take your job 100% serious, the job that's paying you to work hard, paying you to get something completed, and you're not doing it, and you're trying to find shortcuts, take the easy way out, I want nothing to do with you at that point. And I'm a hard worker, and I'm willing to help people, but you gotta be willing to help yourself before I'll ever, come and say, hey, do you want some help with this? So, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, how can you talk like this? What makes you think that you're such a great worker? Well, I've been promoted at, several jobs. Maybe they weren't the highest, paid or the most glamorous jobs. Doesn't mean, I worked hard enough for them to think that I deserved it. I worked for UPS and got promoted there, and that's the biggest shipping company in the world. And I proved to them that I could do it, and to get promoted there, you really have to stand out from the crowd and give them every reason that you can do the job, and do it every single day when you're feeling like crap, when there's a million one other things going on outside of work. You gotta be able to put that aside. You gotta prove to them, and it took me 9 months to prove to them that's what I could do. So that kind of screwed me a little bit when I became a supervisor, because then I started having expectations like that for my employees when I first started taking over an operation. Was like, well, I busted my ass, so I gotta expect you to work just as hard as I did. And I slowly learned that not everybody does. And and I'd have a lot of employees be like, you want me to be a stud, basically. And I'm like, I don't want you to be a stud. I want to see that you're working hard. I want to see you sweat a little bit. Show me that you care about this job, or I'll find somebody who will care about the job and take your spot. And you get those employees who might question whether or not you do that, and it really takes a strong-willed person to tell somebody, hey, I found somebody better, we don't need you here. But it's basically coming to that. I think to really teach some of these people a lesson, instead of giving them chance after chance after chance. And that's what I see, because nobody wants to hurt somebody else's feelings. In reality, that one worker is affecting the whole atmosphere, and affects how everybody else works. I feel like you need to be a little bit stricter, and a lot of it just all starts with where you come from. I think a lot of parents have fallen into this category of this is how it was when I was a kid, I'm gonna make a change, and they become a little too soft on their kids. And I'm not saying that's all parents. I got friends who parents are pretty strict and straightforward with what they believe and their expectations. And by all means, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But I feel like there are a lot of people who feel entitled, who are young, who don't deserve the entitlement, who haven't earned it. So I think when you go to work, and you talk about how bad it sucks, either do something to get yourself a different job, do something to improve where you're at, or just think about those people who can't get a job because there's a million and one reasons. There's always, you can always play the well, I can't do this, I can't do that, or I don't have the qualifications. And it really just starts with your worth ethic. If you prove to somebody that you're worth, taking a look at, and working your way up, they'll do it. They'll take the time to spend on you. But I think people get comfortable with where they're at, and they don't try to pursue to be more, but then will complain about, oh, I'm underpaid, or it's slave work, and really it's your mindset. And I think that kids coming into jobs, their mindset is it should be easy. I want this job because it's going to be easy, not because it's going to challenge me. I think people get challenged and they get uncomfortable and they don't like it. Me, if you're going to challenge me, I will prove you wrong. I will conquer that challenge, and that's just how I am. It's how I'm wired. I love being the underdog. I love proving people wrong. And that's, I've been like that since day one. So, I just feel like, maybe I was raised differently, or I have views that, maybe somebody else might feel is valid, but, from what I've seen, I would say that 50% of the fast food jobs that I've ever worked, I hated. I worked at McDonald's and Wendy's in high school, and I was always told, a job is, you have to go in every day expecting, that you're going to be tested to keep the job. So I went in every day, and I gave them a reason to keep me. Not that my job was ever on the line, but if it ever was, I gave them every reason to not get rid of me. And I think that's just how I was raised, and I think a lot of people, kind of take for granted what is in front of them, and try to focus on all the bad things so they can say, oh, it was me, and not try to focus on the good things and making it better. That's my little rant, I guess. I really had to get that out, because it's just been bugging me these last few days. I've seen some people post about it on my Facebook and stuff, and I think, there is a problem with society, in my opinion, and the way that young adults act and conduct themselves in the work area. But that's my view, that's my opinion. I feel like there's people who don't want to be told what to do because their parents never told them what to do, so if they get a job in authority, they think, well, who are you? You're not my mom, you're not my dad, who are you to tell me? And I feel like that's just wrong. I don't, when I was a supervisor, I wasn't questioned. I'd have employees try to question me, and I think I said a very loud signal that does not roll. And no, I'm no longer a supervisor there, but my supervisors anywhere, I respect them. Call them yes sir, yes ma'am, all that. So that's my opinion on the matter. My little rant, I guess, is it really wasn't a topic. I think people are just focused on trying to get minimum wage up, and I completely hate that idea too. Let's up minimum wage so people are content with being a fast food McDonald's burger man. I just feel like you choose the job you want. If you're not willing to, if you're not willing to work hard, you're gonna take the McDonald's job. Well, that minimum wage is paid at McDonald's. That's your choice. Like that irritates me too. But that's a whole nother thing. I want to get into a whole nother topic. But yeah. That's what I did today. Is young employees, I guess. So yeah, comment if you want, what you feel, or write down, or send me new suggestions for topics or something. I'm really trying to get this rolling, to be quite honest. But yeah, I'm Joe, and I'm out.